You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to The Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the January 11th show, which is Saturday. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We are your local mortgage experts. We're here to help you build a strong financial blueprint, 1 week and one show at a time. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to connect you with the guests that we have on the show or answer any questions that you may have. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now for the first time, I always like the first time guests, we have Gina Madeya, Real Estate Strategies for Success. Gina, thank you so much for joining us for the very first time.
Great to be here to kick off 2020.
Love it. And a little bit about Gina. Real estate transactions can be challenging and stressful, but Gina's approach is simple. She helps you make informed decisions with clarity and confidence. She'll orient you to the market, educate you on the process, help you find the right home, and craft an offer that honors both the financial capability and risk tolerance. Gina's experience and work ethic, business acumen, and professionalism set her apart. At Chase and Microsoft, she was consistently a top performer and participated in Microsoft's exclusive high potential program. Her people and program management skills enabled her to balance the human and process side of a real estate transaction to ensure your success. In her second year, she achieved nearly $50 million in sales, making her the top producer at her firm locally and number 4 in the nation. On that note, I'm going to have Victoria reach out because we definitely need to have you on our Coffee with the Superstar because it is strictly for the best of the best, which you are. Congratulations on your success, Gina.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Gina, way to go, rock star. So after all that success, 25 years in corporate America, you decided to shift into real estate. Tell us why you decided to make that transition.
I did. It was kind of honoring what I feel was always in my DNA. Mm-hmm. Growing up outside of Philadelphia, my mother was a real estate agent. But even my grandparents had bought and sold a lot of properties which make up now what is all of modern-day Atlantic City. Wow. So it was sort of before the gambling thing. But, I still have newspaper clippings of the properties that they bought and sold. So
wow.
I feel like it was something that I was always meant to do. Even before HGTV, which I cannot even watch anymore, right, because it's my life. But growing up, I was always wanting to go to open houses, help my mother fill flyer boxes. So it was always something that I was passionate about, but didn't think I could make it my own. Mm-hmm. So after 25 years, like 20 at JP Morgan Chase, which really gave me a great foundation on the financing side of things, and then 5 years at Microsoft, which oriented me deeply to the tech personality, which of course is very different than those in the financial space. I decided, I was sort of done with corporate America, and it was time to live my dreams. So I took that leap of faith and decided to help others achieve that dream of homeownership while pursuing my passion.
That is so awesome, Gina, because I know a lot of people are stuck where they're at because they're afraid to take that risk and they're afraid to reach for what they truly want, what they're passionate about. And then there are a lot of people that do take that risk, but they don't make it because the fear gets stuck and it gets in their way. And so they can never get past that. And without getting past that, you cannot be successful. So obviously, having a financial background is huge, and the technology background and bringing that in gives you a step up. But you have to be able to emotionally be prepared to be a solo entrepreneur. So how did that transition go for you? Because obviously you were successful in a very short period of time.
Well, I pretty much don't let any obstacle stand in my way. And that acronym, false appearances, what is that? What is that when we say fear? False evidence appearing real. I've never bought into that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it was me going into real estate was like a fish to water. I do think that corporate background helped immensely. People management, process management, program management. Like if I've learned nothing from that experience as I apply it to real estate, it's recognizing that every transaction is different. Some are more or less complicated than others. But more importantly, at the heart of it all is a person and finding a way to understand that person's needs and motivations and how those can be best leveraged and brought to light to achieve a shared goal. In this case, they're purchasing a property. That's what I did in corporate America. We have a project, we have a shared goal that needs to be achieved. I will make sure that that happens.
Yeah.
So that combined with having also been a competitive athlete for most of my life, like there's not a goal I will not do everything to make sure it gets met. And that's the same for my clients.
Yeah, and isn't that interesting? It's, when you look at people are competitive as a child and they've done things like that, they take it into, because they have that mindset, they have that confidence, and they have that willingness to fight for what they want. What do you play in sports?
I was a gymnast from age 5 through to my junior year in college.
Okay.
And then after having my babies, I was bored and I wanted to do something again. And so the next thing I knew, I was competing in bodybuilding.
No way. Wow.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so don't upset me. I might.
We got a couple powerhouses in here.
I know. I was going to beat us up over here.
Nobody mess with us. I'm going to bring the girls along, and they're going to have some problems.
Exactly.
So let's talk about, 2020, first show of the year. Let's talk about real estate in 2019. Pretty interesting considering the how crazy it was, and then the inventory. It just went all over the place, really. Tell us a little bit about the surprises that you thought about in 2020 or 2019 and kind of your perspective of the year of real estate.
Yeah, sure. And I think it's important to sort of take stock of what happened in 2019 because, as you've mentioned, first show of 2020, 2020 is upon us, and it's already starting to feel very different. In 2019, we noticed a big shift in the market, and I think it defied a lot of predictions and came as a surprise. To many. Buyers and sellers alike had become quite accustomed to the multiple offer frenzy, houses selling for 5, 10, 20% or more over the asking price. And then on top of that, to add insult to injury, buyers were assuming all sorts of risks, right? They were waiving financing.
Waiving $50,000 earnest money on everything.
All day long, right? Where, ordinarily those would be protected by contingencies. So that became kind of the norm. But then interest rates started to creep up. And as I'm sure you know, you guys are mortgage professionals, there had been some talk that we might max out at around 5% before 2019 ended. Obviously, that didn't happen, right? So suddenly, interest rates started coming back into what everyone was excited about, right? Anything below 4. But inventory had creeped up. Meanwhile, the buyers, who were pretty much over the craziness of the multiple offer frenzy, we're like, yeah, you know what? I'm hitting the pause button. Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Geopolitical concerns, stock market turmoil, tariffs, trade wars, HQ2. Like, what's that going to do, right? Oh my God, there's going to be a recession. The buyers hit the pause button. So even though interest rates had come down and inventory had gone up, it didn't spur the level of buyer activity that we had expected. Meanwhile, sellers were still expecting all of that, right? So homes were taking longer to sell. They were getting frustrated, often having to do price drops before getting under contract. So it was quite an interesting tension and dynamic in 2019 that I don't think we were expecting.
Yeah, definitely not. And I think there's always some shift in something that happens that is unexpected. But yeah, that was a lot and a big shift. So we talked about how that impacted the buyers and the sellers for 2019. What about 2020? What do you see coming forward in this amazing year that we all have coming?
Well, the shift has already started to happen. Inventory is shrinking. I think the MLS reported, and the Seattle Times actually ran this in an article yesterday, that the inventory that we had in 2018 was at its lowest level. Sorry, what year are we in? 2019. Just 2 days ago. That's what day is it? Who am I?
Exactly.
Right. So we had the lowest inventory in December of 2019 than we have seen since Feb of 2018. So already inventory is going down, and that's somewhat seasonal and to be expected. But the demand for housing has increased. I mean, we're looking at all of the major tech employers here adding about 30,000 jobs. We have over 4 million in square foot of office space across Amazon, Google, and Microsoft alone. So we are bringing highly paid talent here, and they need a place to live.
Yes.
So 2019 is already off to a start. Multiple offers are back. Offer deadlines are back, and they're being met because I flag those homes, and they do go pending on the review date. So I think we need to buckle up and be ready for a very busy buyer and seller season. I think sellers need to make sure that their home is presenting in its best light, and that they're realistic about the price that their home can command.
So for 2020, the year of clarity, they call it 2020 vision, right? What can our buyers be focusing on as far as strategies to ensure that they're going to be successful in selling their homes?
Well, I think you'll
or buying their home, I should say.
Yeah, well, no, it's a good question. I think it's really important because there's going to be a lot of activity in that space. And I think you'll like the answer. And it's the first thing I always tell my buyers. Most important thing that they can do is align themselves with a good mortgage lender.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
Well, the best. We're right
the
here.
best. You're right
exactly.
here. Like I've already taken your picture, and But for sure, I mean, and you know this, and I think too that with the market heating back up, the choice in lender is going to be scrutinized again, right? Sellers agents want to work with lenders who they can trust, who have a reputation of closing on time, keeping the parties informed throughout the process, can get their clients fully underwritten, etc. That's going to be so key. And the thing that's interesting, and this is, I think about Laura and triggers, when clients are all about interest rates, I'm like, interest rates aren't everything, trust me. The reputation of that lender, their ability to get you further down the line than, just a regular pre-qual is important. Obviously, getting aligned with an experienced real estate agent that knows how to handle these market nuances is going to be key. Someone that has reputation, experience, and good relationships with other brokers. I mean, sometimes that gets the deal done. Just knowing that you've worked with that person in the past, you can trust them to get it over the finish line. I think buyers need to be willing to compromise. Unless you're building a custom home, there are going to be some things about a home that aren't perfect for you.
Yeah.
So get clear on what your priorities are. Be willing to compromise on the rest.
Such great advice, Gina. We've got about 30 seconds left here, but I want to make sure that the listeners, because you are the best of what you do, and it's really critically important in buying in 2020 that you're working with great people. So one thing that sets you aside from the thousands of real estate agents that are out in our local market?
I think my drive and the fact that I just don't phone it in. I never have. I don't know how to do it. When I do something, it's at the top of my game. And I am tireless, I'm fearless, and I am absolutely committed to making sure both my buyers and sellers achieve their goal, whether it's getting the home in their dreams, getting top dollar for their listing. That's what I'm all about, and that's how I'm here to help you.
Love that, Gina. Thank you so much for coming, and we look forward to having you come back soon.
As do I. Thank you so much.
And if you want to connect with our guest, you can go to 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And our last guest in studio today, we have Susan Shaler, Edward Jones, who's helping you captain your financial ship and protect your money from long-term care, costs, and taxes. Right here on 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.